Welcome to the next podcast of Millinery.Info. I'm your host, Lauren Ritchie. It's so wonderful to welcome you to this next episode of Millinery.Info. In this series, where we welcome leaders from across the millinery industry into our ears and studio. Today, it's exciting to have Fiona Cooper from Millinery Laa Laa, the winner of the Lillian Frank MBE Millinery Award that was presented on Cup Day at Melbourne Cup Carnival. Thank you so much to our Patreon podcast sponsors for their support of this series. Jennifer Hertz Millinery, the Millinery Retreat School of Millinery, Hatblocks Australia, Hat Academy, Hatters Millinery Supplies, Judith N Millinery Supply House, Hats by Leco, Lifted Millinery, Louise McDonald Milliner, Millinery Australia, The Hat Magazine, and Barcelona Hat Days. Thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You can find a link to each of these businesses in the show notes, either on the podcast app or over on the Millinery.Info website. If you've been loving this series, I'd like to invite you to sign up to become a patron of Millinery.Info. You can do this over on our Patreon page. You can choose a small thank you to Millinery.Info, Millinery.Info, you inspire me, or if you'd love to become a podcast sponsor, that option is also available. Thank you so much to Fiona for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much, Fiona, for joining me on today's podcast. It's wonderful to welcome you to the Millinery.Info series.
Well, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this podcast. I'm excited to chat with you.
First off, let's say congratulations on your beautiful piece that won the Lillian Frank Millinery Award at the Cup Week. It was beautiful.
Thank you. I find it very hard when people do compliment me on that and everything else to do with the hat, because it was very unexpected and still hasn't really 100% sunk in yet.
That's okay. We can still appreciate it and praise you for its glory, and you can just keep floating away in that little bubble.
Thank you.
We're going to come to that piece, but let's go back to how did millinery first enter your life and how did you start making hats?
Well, I used to be a graphic designer and I sort of did that for quite a few years and then moved away from it. And I just was itching for another creative outlet. And at the time, I was working as a creative director on photo shoots, and one of the clients had their spring racing collection. I did it a couple times over the years and met Kim Fletcher through that client. And so she had her beautiful millinery as a part of complementing that collection. So when I met with Kim, I said, how do you do this? And my head is of a reasonable size. So I said, I need to make a hat to fit this. So she was the one who introduced me to doing a short course at Swinburne for, I think it was 6 weeks. And that's where I met Georgina Kahidi. So from there, I said, what else can I do? I had the bug. So she recommended me to go to Kangan. So that's how it all started. Wanting that creative outlet that didn't have any technology, didn't want a computer, didn't want a screen. As you know, you don't need technology. You just need a creative idea, strength in your fingers, some steam, and a needle and thread, and just go with what you want to do with it.
I love that. That's a really good framing of it. But having a design background certainly would have influenced, like, coming into, with the Kangan experience particularly, you've got this wall of hat blocks to be able to choose from. And part of the processes, or at least when I was going through, was you could just pick what you wanted to make. And that's a very overwhelming option, having the opportunity to design at the same time as learning techniques. But with a design background, did that help you or support you in that kind of idea development phase?
It was probably daunting to begin with, because normally with my career, I'd always been given a brief. So to have an open sort of treasure trove of hat blocks and not knowing yet how to use them, it was, as I said, daunting. And so definitely needed guidance. And particularly some of the shapes are very beautifully organic and free-flowing. And I tend to run away from that sort of part of my design aesthetic. So yeah, just think outside the box when you're looking at these beautiful hat blocks. So yeah, I found it's daunting to start with.
Amazing. And the Kangan course unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, but during that time, what was the structure like when you were attending, and who did you have mentoring you through?
I was fortunate to have quite a few different tutors throughout the 3 certificates that I did. So I had Sandy Buchanan. She started with us initially and introduced with her husband, who made us our first dome block set, and then had Serena for flat pattern, and then we had Melissa Jackson, who started with Cinema, and then we also had experience with the wonderful Paris Klein, and we had Georgina Kahidi, who would come and do some little pop-up kind of little couture trims with us every now and then. And then I actually had to put a hold on my certificate 4, and I came back about maybe 18 months or 24 months later and had the lovely Rose Hudson. So yeah,
Good round out of the team.
Yeah, so I got to have a good, as you said, round of the team experience across the most amazing Melbourne-based milliners. Yes.
That's incredible. And when you finished or got towards the end of that course, did you have an idea of what you wanted millinery to go on to be in your creative space?
I just wanted to still approach it as my yoga. It was my form of release from my day job, which is in the corporate world. So I didn't want to make anything too cumbersome for myself and complicated and make it something I didn't like to do, because it was my relief. And when I came out of the course, again, I had the tools to know how to sort of set up a studio, how to estimate. So that kind of did help with interacting with sort of new customers who you're finding your feet with. And it was sort of gave you the courage to actually, I can make a hat and make it available to the future customers, and pushing again the design aspects of moving outside of what the criteria was within actually the college as well.
And from there, where did you go to? Do you have a space you create in? Where do you make your pieces now?
Well, my space is my apartment, so my kitchen bench becomes the millinery studio, particularly during the high season. So there's no cooking. I know it's called food delivery during that season. But I'm actually fortunate, such having a small apartment, but the kitchen is quite a sizable one. It feels like it should be a family home one. So it's amazing what you can do in such a small space, and you get creative with it. And over the years, because of I'm still in that sort of design industry, I have access to big cutting tables and computers where I can definitely put some designs together. So it's not necessarily all done here. And I also have the luxury of being able to, through our connections through Millinery Australia, have the most amazing community where we go and block together at people's studios, houses, and just having other days. So it's not always 100% in the kitchen.
You mentioned that Millinery Australia, you and I got to work together on the committee for a number of years. How did you get involved in that organisation?
Well, again, from Kangan, I actually thought my work wasn't worthy of joining. I was a bit intimidated, and I went, look, no, I don't think I can be. Even though I was qualified as a Cert 4, I could automatically become a member. But no, I said, no, I'm not worthy. Members there were just amazing. I was in awe of them. I still continue to be educated by a lot of our members through their workshops. But I was brave enough on one Oaks Day some years ago, when I had a couple of champagnes, where the lovely Rose Hudson came up to me, Fiona, you would be the best secretary.
This is how she gets you. Yes.
Yes. So Rose got me in a point of a fun day out at Flemington. So she said, come on, do it. I went away for a week to Hawaii, and somehow through my holiday, I signed up, became a member, and became the secretary all in one. So I actually think that was the best way of doing it, because I got thrown into the deep end, and that became the best thing to interact with the members and the larger community and the people who love hats. So because you were the single point of connection to the committee and to the members, everyone contacts the secretary. So, yeah, so thank you, Rose.
Yeah, thank you, Rose.
Yes.
And your time on there, you were on that committee for a number of years. Tell us about what that experience was like and the roles you went on to have.
Well, I was a secretary, if I can remember, I think it was 3 years. Was it 4? I don't remember.
We can fact check, but we can take roughly.
Yes, 3 to 4 years. Well, actually, it was more, I enjoyed being on there for those few years, initially as a secretary, because again, you start establishing some systems, processes, and you want to be able to deliver as a part of that committee to the members. So it was great to be a part of that. And then see the growth of the association, interact again with brand new members. And then from that, I moved across as, I think it was after you were president, I became president.
Yes, you were.
So
I hand the baton over to you.
Yes, so that was a different role, and having the background of the secretary role was brilliant to have that, because I believe you've had that role in the past.
Yes, we had a similar path there, yes.
Yes. So that was great, just be there, be the spokesperson, listen to the members and deliver for the members what they wanted to be, what they wanted to get out of the association. So, and again, the friendship, the mentorship, I can't say enough about it, because I don't think I would have that if I didn't join and also be really immersed in that committee, because you can be a member, but just to be really part of it, because now, even though I'm just I shouldn't just say just a member. No.
You're I'm not a fully engaged member, yeah.
So I definitely help support the committee who is there over the years. From my knowledge of what I did, and also I want to see their set up for success moving forward, because again, I use my skills for the past of me as the graphic designer and everything else. So yeah, everyone who helps the committee, it's the better.
One of the activities that the association does is the Design Award, and you've made some very fabulous pieces over the years. How do you find entering competitions, and what's your approach to it?
Well, again, as I said earlier, I've always been given a brief from my clients, and there's always been a deadline. I will have these amazing ideas in my head, and then I completely fall over in my head how to execute them. And then that means I've given myself no time to sometimes execute these ideas. So it's breaking down the brief, the theme, and working through what your skill sets are, what also can be set your point of difference. And I don't go in thinking who the judges are, what do they want. I want to be true to my aesthetic. So I will put my foot forward the best as I can, just to challenge myself. It's about challenging me. I'm not competing against anyone else. I want to see what I can push my own boundaries. Sometimes it doesn't work because life does get in the way. But I think
material doesn't behave how you expected, all those things.
Yeah, because life does get in the way, and you shouldn't kick yourself about that either. And again, it's pushing yourself to maybe potentially try different materials, and also you can also reach out to your little group, as I call my cheerleading group, to sort of have support. What are you doing? How are you attacking it? What do you think? So you're kind of bouncing ideas off each other, and just to have that sort of reassurance, because you always doubt yourself, and you're always the worst critic as well of your own work. So competitions are great, but I think you need to. Everyone approaches them very differently. So as I said, my approach is I just want to know what more can I do, because I know when you've got a custom order for a client, very different. Again, you've taken their brief, but you've got freedom to work within the theme. I know certain hat competitions don't have a theme, so again, that is even more fabulous because you can go anywhere.
And I was making, which year was it that you made the top 10?
Ooh, was that 2022 for Counterbalance?
Counterbalance, yes.
Yes. So that one was my first attempt at my stripes that I love doing. And from that was called Three Sisters. So the Counterbalance there was three colors, repeating stripes. And with being a triplet, I'm the middle one. So I had my sisters either side of me as the counterbalance perspective of that. So, and I love making large hats. So that was a very large conical shaped hat. But from that technique, I've actually moved it further into being more challenged. So I didn't like the results. Like, looks great in a photo. I just didn't like how it was layered. So I learned a lot from myself of just working on that technique. I said, most people can do that technique, but how can I actually make it sort of seamless, not overlapping, and that sort of looking that effortless look, that's where I started there with my stripes. And then that moved to was it 2023, I think, again, Flemington Millinery Award. That's when I did, again, another round of stripes, sort of a wide picture hat. And that's when I started doing the rings connecting to each other without overlapping. So, yeah.
There's a lot of development work, it sounds like you've been working through over very long time to get to what was the winning hat on Cup Day this year.
Yes, there's quite a few years behind it. And again, I'm not great with maths, but it's amazing when I've done workshops over the years and I go, do we need to do maths? And then everyone goes, yes. And so to create your templates, to work out the everything, you've got to be on with millimeter or else it won't work. And I felt the first one I did for counterbalance, I slightly wobbled, as in not wobbling physically the hat, but I just misjudged my my accuracy. But that top 10 was, I thought was fabulous being in top 10 anyway for that one. But that's moved me and challenged me to continue on and make that technique more refined.
So coming to the winning hat, when the VRC announced the competition this year, were you right in there ready to register, or how did you come to it?
To be honest, I have avoided entering for the last couple of years because it is a huge undertaking. I don't think anyone says it's easy, particularly since it's right on the finishing end of the sort of spring racing, and it's Cup Day, where we've had to rethink when it was originally on Oaks Day. And I would love just to keep entering hats and not having to deal with the whole, do I need a model? I need to find an outfit. So it all gets sometimes a bit overwhelming. There's a lot involved, and I love going to support everyone who does enter. And I was told actually from last year, look, you need to enter again, Fiona, you need to enter. And then this year, again, change of my job, everything like that, I felt, no, there's too much happening again. And then when Georgia, who's our president for the association, said, look, we all need to be supporting any millinery event, particularly competitions, or else they won't be there if we don't. And so I went, okay, do I want to do it? Do I want to do it again? Again, talking to the cheerleading squad that I have.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely credit to the cheerleading squad.
Yes, thank you, Joe and Rachel. But again, Georgia, she kept, prompting us and saying, look, guys, enter. It's a fabulous event. But yeah, so it was coming to crunch time. Again, I had the idea.
Yes.
I knew how to do my technique, but I did not know what I wanted to do in the technique. I did not know where I was going with it. So yeah, that's where to establish the design, which I looked back through quilting patterns. Yes, because I love linear lines and it's my thing. So I went, okay, let's have a look at quilting patterns. Didn't want anything too complicated because complicated can be visually doesn't work either. So I just need to simplify a repeated pattern. So I started with the pattern, and it was a 2D pattern when you look at it. And from that, what do you do with the colors? How do you make it stand out? And amongst, again, the noise of Cup Day, because that it's so bright, it's fabulous. There's always a huge screen on the stage. You've got everything going on. So yeah, I had to work out, got the pattern. What do I do with colors? So that's where I think from my background, and also my job is in print. So I love color, and I didn't want to stay safe with the color palette. So that's where I've come up with the bold, sort of the navy, the amethyst, the khaki, the white, and the grey. So, and just working out how they all complemented each other in that structured pattern. So that's where I went with it. Again, many templates and toiles of trying to get this. It's amazing how a scale, I love a big hat, but then it was like, no, let's just go a bit smaller. But the pattern, the stripes look too thin. So I probably did 5 different pattern scales, and just to get the right proportion of the stripes. And then,
is this something you're doing digitally, or are you physically creating this? What's that trial process like for you?
I have in the past digitally used Adobe Illustrator, but this time I actually pen, paper, T-square, manually drew it and did all the maths. So I used the brain, didn't let my fingers and Adobe Illustrator do it for me. From that, just creating a jigsaw puzzle and looking at it. And the pattern I originally worked with, I tweaked it because it kind of didn't rock my boat. It was kind of like, it just looks like a hexagon or all. So how can I move it? So I flipped it around. I just opposed it, and even the center of it was not what I planned either. So it's interesting, like listening to Stephen Jones the other day, who we had a fabulous evening with as members of Millinery Australia, where he said, yes, you might have a sketch, but let it go. It will take you somewhere. Don't stop it. So it actually evolved, and it changed, and to the point where I had to go, right, okay, I'm going with this. But I've told a few people this. I thought, look, I'm going to bust out the sewing machine. I'm going to zip the sewing machine down every stripe. No one's going to see it up on the stage. And because I don't use the sewing machine hardly ever, oh my gosh, it was not my technique. It wasn't. And I think stay true to your craft. That's all I'm saying. So I had to go. Takeaway. Yeah. So I thought I was going to cut a couple of corners. No. And I'm actually glad I didn't happen. And I'm glad I didn't, because now seeing all the photos that were taken, yeah, it would have ruined it. I had to do all those hidden stitches, all the hidden micro stitches.
When they announced your piece as the winner, one of the statements they shared from the judges was that they couldn't figure out how it was done. And what an amazing compliment that, that such an amazing group of hats on stage with you, but also the judging panel themselves being so esteemed, that it was a mystery. And I'm not going to ask you how it was done, because that is part of the magic. But what a high compliment that we look at that and just in awe of, can't figure out how to do it, and that's quite okay, and how wonderful.
Well, again, you always think nothing's new, everything comes back, like even a technique or a style. And I didn't realize how poignant that was, and going, oh, did I do something different or something new?
Yes, you did.
Because you need, again, there is a part of the competition, that particular, you do need to stand out and show something different and in innovation. So, and I didn't feel like, again, we're all the worst critics of our own work. I didn't feel like it was, again, oh, it's stripes, it's this, it's that. So I was like, technique. I was standing right at the podium when they had the cards, they were announcing people. And okay, I'm standing there. I'm going to ignore them while they're announcing things. I'm going, technique. Is that me? Is that my technique?
It was your technique.
Look, there is some tricks to it. And I think it's also, again, I think it's establishing your templates, understanding the cinema that I was working, and what you can push with that as well. Yes. I'm someone who's never liked cinema, and I don't know why I keep using it. But it's amazing.
Very interesting, giving the pieces that you've been creating with this technique.
I know, but it's amazing, and it's so forgiving. And I was talking to someone about it the other day, where considering it's all very constructed and it's all in its stripes, and it still gives me some flexibility with the bias to be able to manipulate it into when I draped it over the block that I had. So, oh, hang on, that line is slightly out. So I actually was able to steam it and get it back into alignment. So it's amazing how forgiving cinema is, and how structured it can be, or else can beautifully be freeform and soft. So yeah, so I don't know why. Yep, that's cinema's my thing now.
Cinema's your thing now. How did you go about sourcing? You mentioned about how you had the color palette and how you developed that. Are these cinemas you already had on hand, or did you, once you developed your color set, have to go find them?
Well, I did want to do black because I always love black, and do not do black. And I knew I wanted to ground it with a dark color, so I chose navy. That was the first color I did. So the lovely team out at House of Adorn, they let me spend hours out there. I have their color charts here at home, so I have a think, and I know and stuff. And I even took some of my own cinema colors out with me. So all I did was pull their stock off the shelf. Okay, how does that work? And does this work? And also looking at the actual weave, and because I wanted a consistent weave as well, because I know you can get some looser ones and tighter ones. So I was very particular about the structure of the cinema as well. But they let me spend a good Saturday morning and just taking over the big bench and go, no, don't like that. They go, Fiona, let's have a look. Yep, Fiona, we'll leave you alone. We'll come back and see what you're doing. Oh, hang on, those colours look great. No, they don't work. And even to the point where the white, or do I want a off-white? I think we had about 5 different whites to pick the right white to sit next to, I think it's the grey. Yeah. So down to the white, I had to make a decision on.
Well, and it
Yeah.
came together beautifully. And how
Yeah.
did you go about sourcing? Because part of the, as you mentioned, the barriers or the challenges in this competition is that if you are selected as a finalist, you are invited to showcase in the heats on Cup Day, and you need someone to wear the hat. How did you go about that, and what was your decision process for that?
Well, I backed myself from the minute I submitted it on that Sunday evening. I think an hour and 15 minutes before it was due.
Plenty of time.
I said,
Plenty of
plenty
time.
of time. And knowing what was coming up, I couldn't afford the time to wait for 2 weeks to hear the decision. So I just said, right, let's start planning. Let's plan. I originally had one of my, Heidi, who was my model a couple of years ago. I contacted her first and she's like, no, I'm in New Zealand on Cup Day. And I said, right, who else do I want to have fun? And I want to have fun on Cup Day. And
Yeah.
I called upon wonderful Tara, who was my colleague for close to 7 years. So I was her manager. So I said, right, I want you. She goes, oh, I don't know. I'm not a model. I said, don't need, you'll be fine. You'll be comfortable. You'll be great. It is going to be you. And her husband said, look, do it. So I locked in Tara, and then I started the next day booking hair, makeup. I put deposits down. I said, look, if it all backfires, I can cancel things. I can give someone else the opportunity to have those time slots for hair and makeup. I started looking for outfits. I wanted just a dark navy outfit. And because Tara isn't a model, but she's the most gorgeous human I know. And so I wanted to make sure she was comfortable. So she had assistance with the outfits. And I said to her, look, I don't want a dress. I don't think it works with a hat. And these are the options I have. And she said to me, Fiona, the only colours I don't like to wear are yellow and navy. And I said, well, you'll be in navy.
Funny that.
Yep. She goes, I don't do navy. So I brought her on through the journey with it because she needed to be comfortable. I didn't want her to feel like she was a sort of duck out of water. And so she had decisions with the shoes. Did she want to have a tan and all that sort of stuff? I said, and even hair and makeup, the morning of makeup, I said, what do you want? I said, ask Tara. It's her face. I want Tara to be Tara. So yeah, so that she made me more relaxed. Tara did, because she went along with it as well. But yeah, I just started planning as soon as that entry went in. I just had to go find the accessories, the outfits, because if I left it 2 weeks before it be on the Flemington, I don't think I'd pull it together.
And on the day, you were standing up there on stage and they announced your piece as the winning piece. What was that experience like, and what went through your mind?
It was, I don't even know what went through my mind. I keep saying I was so, because when I was standing there, because as I said, I was standing right next to the podium.
Yes, you were.
And I know they had, yeah. So they kept sort of delaying it and kept talking about it and talking and stuff. And then I was just excited for the ones who were being announced. I was even just excited to have, again, my cheer squad, Joe and Rachel, who are part of the top 10, which I thought the three of us, because we're all like, no, can we enter? No, my hat's not great. We're back and forth. So to have them there, that was the pinnacle moment, to be honest, to have them with me. And finally, when it was like, what? My name? Hang on. What? It's kind of like, did they say my name? Then I think, I don't know who pushed me out. They kind of pushed me. I don't know.
Where'd you go?
They pushed me out, or Tara dragged me. I don't remember. But yeah, it was very emotional because, again, it's something to be acknowledged and recognized, because yes, it isn't my full-time career, which I wish it was, but I think if it was, I wouldn't love it. So I think to be honored in that sense, and to, as you mentioned earlier about the technique, to be acknowledged. Everyone else had beautiful techniques, and again, but this one just was probably outstanding one for that particular event. But yeah, it was just, and seeing in the crowd, like, people who've taught me over the years, even the people who I've met through Fashions on the Field were there, who knew me, just seeing familiar faces, and just seeing the faces of particularly the judges, and having 4 wonderful milliners on the judging panel, acknowledging not just my hat, but everyone else is there. And that was fabulous. Yeah, I just don't know what was in my head. I think I said to one of the media, this is the Olympics.
Yes.
I've won gold.
Yes, it is. You have.
I won gold. So yeah, because all of a sudden there was a lot of media, and you were sort of taken across to other areas to talk to and asking, how did you do this? What was it like? So I haven't even heard any of that. So I haven't even haven't had time to, but again, it was to celebrate that and Tara to be with me as well, who, again, I put her in the limelight. She was brave to do that with me and to pull that off together, which was a great day. And she made everything for me as well and made it really a relaxing day. And yeah, did not realize that was going to happen.
How special to be able to do that together with someone that, you championed each other in different ways. That's very cool.
Yeah, that was fabulous.
So what's next on the agenda? We've won gold. What's next on the cards? What have you been making or looking forward to creating next?
To be honest, I've got to make some decisions because my job for next year is going to be crazy. So I generally don't start pumping out hats until the last minute of it's spring coming around. So I've got a plan to do some hats. And what else can I do with that technique and make it sort of more a bit sort of ready to wear, because I do a lot of ready to wear more so than custom orders. So can I bring that into that realm of ready to wear? And a part of the prize to do with the Lillian Frank Award was to attend Royal Ascot, so which I've never done. So that is obviously on the bingo card for 2026.
Yes, it's a great thing to be able to pick
exactly.
Up.
Exactly. So, and also a part of that, I'm waiting for the brief at the moment, is to design a hat for Royal Ascot. I think it's again, I have to look at the fine print.
Collective.
Yes, and so that I think it's going to be similar to what I did for Lillian Frank Award. I've kind of worked out a colour palette. Again, lovely team at House of Adorn had me there the other morning.
Good on you. Great work, team.
And also Kathy Campbell had me yesterday. Yeah, so next year is experiencing the millinery world in the UK, because when I've travelled previously around Europe and North America, and this is really quite prior to for me doing what I do now with millinery, I didn't really know. I didn't realise I should be looking at the textile areas of New York, or I should go and see this or do that. So now it's like, what supply chains are in the UK, go and visit them, go and visit also the community that we've created. Yeah, so that will be exciting to and just immerse myself in that part of the world. Yeah.
Amazing. So when you develop, you mentioned about making ready to wear more than custom. Do you create a collection? How does that side work for you?
Some years I will do, it's not quite a collection. It's kind of what I feel like I want to make. Again, I don't follow any trends. I don't follow any particular, actually, I shouldn't say color palette, because I'm not a pastel person. I love either it's going to be black or it's going to be bright colors. It's kind of what I'm feeling, to be honest. And like maybe 2 years ago, we jokingly, when I had the pop-up shop, the millinery headquarters, my work kind of became like the naked range. So most of the time it won't have a trim, and if it is, it's simplified, because I do find a lot of people have a fear of, I don't want to go to the races and stand out and have all this on my head and everything. So I pare back a lot of what I do, and also it goes again to what my designer aesthetics is from originally as a graphic designer. I do have really hard troubles with being free, organic, and I love measurement. Like, again, I don't know why I love maths with this now. Here's an axis, here's a point, I need to go straight across. Not have a nice, beautiful ruffle or something like that. I find it very hard to let loose and just let it happen. But we all have our own love of certain parts of the millinery. And if someone comes to me, if they went, we want beading, we want feathers, I'll point them into the direction of the most amazing other milliner who specializes in that, because I will have a heart attack over it. I will sit there, I won't work on it, I'll panic. Like I've rung Rachel Hart before at 2:00 in the morning. I don't know how to do this veiling. It's not me. I don't do it. How do you do it? So I don't like forcing myself into a corner I'm not comfortable with. Yes, I've learnt a lot of these techniques, but it's just something I don't do every day.
It's not necessarily aligns with the aesthetic you want your business to be creating.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, but known for the naked range.
Well, we can't wait to see what you create and how this style evolves and the iterations that it's going to come through. Have the best time, Ascot, and we can't wait to see what's coming up next for you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate it. It's been great chatting all things millinery. So thank you, Lauren.
Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I hope you enjoyed hearing Fiona's story. Thank you to our wonderful Patreon podcast sponsors, Hat Academy, Millinery Australia, Hatter's Millinery Suppliers, Judith M. Millinery Supply House, Cats by Lego, The Unique Millinery, Lifted Millinery, Louise McDonald Milliner, The Hat Magazine, Hatblocks Australia, Milliner Retreat School of Millinery, Jennifer Hertz Millinery, and Barcelona Hat Days. Head across to check out these businesses in our show notes or across on the Millinery.Info website. While you're on the website, you can also check out some other photos from Fiona that go along with this podcast. If you're a business that would like to hear your name mentioned here, you too can become a Patreon podcast sponsor. Just head across to patreon.com/Millinery.Info. If you'd like to also find a way to show your support without being a podcast sponsor, you can choose from 2 other tiers that are there.